And it's okay. I mean, I'm not here to force you to change, right? Let's say you get into this contemplation step and you're like, this is exactly where I'm going to stay. I'm glad you let me know, but I'm not moving any further. Hey, that's your choice, right? I'm still going to give you the tools and the information so that when you decide to step into preparation, which technically being here is already stepping into preparation, but I'm not going to keep going on that one. You can then step into action whenever you're ready. Okay, so it is you're becoming a historian. You have to learn the information, understand your field, and all of that. It's being an author. You have to write a document. Sometimes you have to write multiple documents depending on your program, but you have to learn the art of writing, right? Writing clearly, writing concisely. You're an illustrator. Sometimes you have to draw a picture for your audience. You have to visually give them cues to understand whatever it is, whatever message you're trying to convey. Because sometimes people are just visual learners, right? Not everything comes across through pen and paper with words. You become a teacher because, I mean, I don't know, are y'all TA? Do y'all have TA and SIA? No, y'all don't teach.
We have TAs, but we're not TAs this semester.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, you don't have to teach, but in most PhD programs, we have to teach. And so we become a teacher, but also just in general, getting a higher degree, whenever you go out into your workforce or wherever you are going to work, you typically are over people. So gaining skills to how do you teach others to do their job is important. You become a speaker, a professor. Professor and speaker are literally the same thing. Like professors are literally just professing the knowledge that they have, the knowledge that they know. You're learning this information for a reason. You're not learning it to lock it into a tower. You're not learning it to lock it into your brain. You're learning it to make society better. And an experimental researcher. So you are trying new things when you have these new understandings, when you're connecting those dots, and you're essentially making the world a better place. And that in itself is experimental. I know that we like to think that life is very cookie cutter and everything works, that makes people feel safe, but in reality, nobody knows anything. We are all literally just trying to figure it out as we go. And the more knowledge and tools and more well-rounded you are, the better you are at making decisions that help others. And in all of this together, you literally become an expert at whatever your subject or topic is. Well-being is a mix of things too. So a lot of times, even I think that this is being dismissed in today's rhetoric, but previously well-being was just thought about, are you physically fit? Are you active? But there are a number of things that go into your ability for well-being and being physically fit and active. So I'm going to share a brief introductory video.
With gratification. My name is Letitia Franklin, and I'm a 6th-year PhD candidate in the Biochemistry, Microbiology, and Molecular Biology program at the Pennsylvania State University. Before Gratified Grad became a business, it started as my personal lifestyle change towards self-empowerment. My first year of graduate school consisted of anxiety, panic attacks, stereotype threat, and imposter syndrome without me realizing what I was experiencing. At my lowest, I decided that I would find the tools necessary to help me out of that rut, and I have been sharing those strategies ever since.
So the mission of Gratified Grad is to guide historically excluded scholars to be their authentic selves so that equity may exist across all disciplines. We do this through looking at intrapersonal aspects of self, financial, intellectual, interpersonal, career, spiritual, and physical. As graduate students, we tend to only focus on the career, right? Being a student. But there's so many other parts of you that you need to develop and grow in as well. So how do we accomplish our mission? We empower historically excluded scholars to be their authentic selves while expanding the understanding of inclusivity in higher education. And I added in that clause of higher education, in the highlighted clause, because I recognize that there's only so much that the student can do. There needs to be some buy-in from the university. And so part of what I want to do is work with universities to help them understand how they need to change their policies as students are also changing who they are and how they interact with the institution so that we can meet in the middle and live healthier, happier lives. And so I'm really big on meeting people where they are, right? You don't have to pretend like you know anything. You don't have to pretend like you don't know anything, right? You get as much as you give and you receive. You can go as far as you basically let me know that you can go, right? So don't undercut yourself or shortcut yourself, but then also don't like overthrow. Like, we're not faking it till we're making it. We are showing up authentically ourselves and asking questions when we don't know things. I introduced the 7 areas of wellness. We're going to go in depth with them in a moment. I explained the working with institutions. The thought of inclusivity, though we're not going to go into what culture, humility, and cultural competence is in today, those are 2 key terms in the higher education realm that most universities have no idea about, right? And they have existed. And then also thinking about the word equity, there's positionality, and then there's intersectionality. Most people are aware of what intersectionality is. Positionality is a slightly different twist, but it's still, I feel, under the umbrella of intersectionality. A little plug for myself, if you're interested in yoga, I teach yoga for Penn State. So if you're taking classes this summer, you can come on over to the IM building. If you're not taking classes this summer, you can meet me in the hub, because I teach yoga in the hub, and that's free for all students. It's actually for students, faculty, and staff. So you're more than welcome to come to that. I also teach yoga downtown through Yoga Lab Studio. If you want to get a membership there, that's possible. And then through my business, Gratified Grad, I also teach yoga there. I also have a YouTube channel, Gratified Grad, where there's 80+ videos of resources on interviewing, tips from other graduate students, conversations that I've had with other graduate students where they've talked, actually graduate students, medical students, lawyers, where they talk about what helped them through their process, right? What did they need? And they're all people of color. What did they need to graduate with gratification? And then there's also How-To Mondays, where we just go through practical things, right? How do you talk to your committee? How do you prepare a journal article? How do you prioritize your time? Things like that, very basic 3 steps. And then I have like random Wednesdays where we just talk, or it's becoming Wellness Wednesdays, but right now it's just where we just talk about experiences. So what to expect here? Oops, I did not feel that slide in. So what to expect these next 6 weeks, if we don't count today, is essentially next week we will meet as a group again. And then the following weeks, I will be sending out everyone their own schedule on the topics based on what you chose. And we will be going through basically the exact same way that we're about to go through the spiritual section of this 8-week process. So you'll get a little bit of it today. Next week, it'll be a full session. So you'll see exactly like what that hour would look like, and we'll go through there. So I'm not going to read through the 7 areas of wellness and like what exactly they mean. When we get to them, we can talk to them and we can talk about them further. But I like to use the acronym PIC, P-I-C, if, I-F, is. And so my thought is that, you know, PIC, if, is wellness, right? So in thinking about, you know, how do you practice the 7 areas of wellness? Well, you can literally practice it any way. The goal or the point is to just make sure that if it's a part of your physical wellness, then you pick it. If it's a part of your intellectual wellness, then you pick it, right? And the things that don't fit within your decided measures of what physical wellness means to you, what intellectual means to you, then you don't do it. And it's literally just that simple, right? But you have to define for yourself what it means. I have a loose definition, but it looks different for everyone, which is why there are options, right? Oh, I didn't even realize I had that little animation there. Pick if it's authentic to you, right? So that's basically what I just explained. So a couple things that I want to introduce to you is first off, the cycle of change. In order for you to actually experience the process of what we're about to do over this next 7 weeks, you kind of have to be aware of what the cycle of change is. And this is actual like psychologists use this, right? I'm not claiming to be a psychologist. I'm not claiming to know these things. I just know that this is a accredited cycle. That's what I'm trying to say when I say that. And so change is not like a straight line. It used to be described as like a hilly line where you go up hills but gradually come up. And it has evolved to being a spiral. And so it's this thought of, you continuously change and you're continuously spiraling, and you are elevating within the spiral, but you're still going to have like learning points of learning. You may repeat a spiral or repeat a cycle over and over and over again until you figure out how to make it go up instead of just going in a circle all the time, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to read through quickly, and I'm trying to think of an example as I'm talking that I could use to explain. Got one. So if we start with, and you could actually start anywhere, but I'm just going to start with relapse, right? We'll start with relapse, fall back into old patterns. So let's say I said I want to get up at 5:30 every morning, 5:30 a.m. every morning. And I know that I turn on my alarm clock. I just hit snooze on my alarm clock. So just the fact that I say I want to get up at 5:30, but I keep hitting snooze on my alarm clock, I'm relapsing. That's like an old pattern, an old habit. So then it's pre-contemplation when you have no intention of changing your behavior. So you're just saying, okay, I'm gonna just keep hitting that snooze button, and that's just what it is. You're not even trying to change it. Whereas when you start to step into the contemplation part of the cycle, you realize you're aware that, okay, it is a problem that I'm deciding to continuously hit this snooze button. Then you have to move into preparation, right? A lot of people get stuck here in the contemplation stage where they are okay with admitting that they have a problem. They're just like, I know I shouldn't keep hitting that snooze button, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. Well, we're trying to get past that, right? We want to move into the preparation step where, okay, what do you need to do when you wake up at 5:30 so that you don't hit the snooze button? We're still under the intent side of things. So then you have to actually take the action, right? What is your active modification for the behavior? So like for me, I have to have an incentive. I love having my morning tea. And so when the alarm goes off at 5:30, I get out of bed and I go straight downstairs to turn on my tea and make my tea blends. Like that is like my favorite time of the day to drink my tea and sit. And so that's for me, that is the motivation to change my action, right? So then you have the maintenance. And so the sustained change is you now have a new behavior. So I wake up in the morning, get up, go make my tea. And that's that. Like, and actually for me, so this is a true story. For me, like I don't even use an alarm clock anymore. I wake up 5:30 every day, get up, go make my tea. Sometimes I wake up like 5:45, 5:30, but I still wake up in that range, and I get up when I wake up and I go make my tea. And so that's that maintenance. And it literally has just become a part of my daily routine. Now, of course, there are some days where I don't get up at 5:30 or 5:45, and I stay in bed until 6 o'clock, 6:30. Well, that's that relapse, right? And so then maybe a day or two, I'm like, well, it's okay. I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. But then you got to come back around to realizing it's a problem, preparing. And so you see how that cycle continues to go on and on. So when you're going through these different activities that we're doing, discussing building habits, discussing budgets, discussing whatever different things, postures with yoga, asanas and things, you have to think about where are you in the cycle of change? And it's okay. I mean, I'm not here to force you to change, right? Let's say you get into this contemplation step and you're like, this is exactly where I'm going to stay. I'm glad you let me know, but I'm not moving any further. Hey, that's your choice, right? I'm still going to give you the tools and the information so that when you decide to step into preparation, which technically being here is already stepping into preparation, but I'm not going to keep going on that one. You can then step into action whenever you're ready. So really you'd be going from contemplation to action because you're already doing the preparation, but no pressure. And self-awareness is so important. Through all of the different things that we're going to talk about, it's always going to come back to self-awareness. How are you reflecting with this? How is this landing for you? The first lesson in change is self-awareness and knowing how do I respond to uncomfortable situations. Some things are like slightly uncomfortable. Some things may be largely uncomfortable, right? I mean, it's totally up to you and however you perceive whatever it is we're discussing. So how do you respond in uncomfortable situations?